A very warm welcome to Study IQ, my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 5th September 2020. Day is Saturday. I would like to share something with all of you guys. I think I read this thing on Instagram. I'm not sure. But this is Teachers' Day special thing or an idea that I would like to share with all of you. They say that a person can stay without food for a month. A person can survive without water for a week. A person can live without air for 7 to 8 minutes. But a person cannot live without hope. And I strongly believe that all the teachers that I have came across, they have installed hope in me, and I'm sure it applies to all of us, that teachers, right, that they install this hope in us. And I think this is the most important thing in our life. So thank you very much to all my teachers, to teachers around the world, right? Thank you so much, and a very, very happy Teachers' Day to all of you. With this, dear friends, Study IQ team has designed a smart course. This smart course is for civil services examination. It covers your pre as well as mains examination. And to find out more about it, all you have to do is download our mobile application. We have 5 important articles on our table today. You can download the PDF of today's lecture from my Telegram channel. You can follow me on Facebook as well. Dear friends, the first one is about migrants and their right to vote. This one is from Times of India. The title is Make Votes Count. Now remember a very important principle of economics, that it's about demand and supply. So if there is a demand for a particular product or service, then someone will turn up and they will provide you, or they will supply that product or service. Something like that applies in politics as well. Particularly in democracy, if people seek something, if we want something, right, if we need something, like let's say basic facilities like water, internet, electricity, transportation, etc., education and health, of course. So if we demand for this thing, and if our demands are strong enough, then this demands will create a pressure on politicians and political parties to perform, and based on this pressure they will act as well. But without any incentives, if they think that they will get nothing in return, then they will not take that particular thing seriously. And something like that applies to migrants when it comes to migrants and their voting rights. Voting right is a very important or a very powerful tool. Most of us, we don't understand or appreciate this powerful tool. But if you ask politicians, they know this thing very well, that voting right is a very, very important or a very powerful tool that is in the hands of citizens. A study says that a local person is 41% more likely to get help from political representatives than a migrant worker. Now, why local people are given more weightage compared to migrant worker? Because in our country, the thing is that, let's say if you are from Maharashtra, and if you are living in Karnataka, or maybe you are living in Gujarat or any other place, right? I'm just giving you a rough example. So if you are a person from Maharashtra and if you are living in Gujarat, say for example, if you are a migrant person or a migrant worker, then your voter ID is registered in Maharashtra. So you are going to vote for someone, or you are allowed to vote in Maharashtra and not in Gujarat. So because you are not allowed, or because you are not able to vote in Gujarat's politics, you are invisible. Politicians or political parties, they don't count these people because they are not going to add anything when it comes to election numbers. So because they are not going to add numbers, they are invisible, and they are not looked after very well. They are not considered very well. And this is the reason why we find this sort of big gap between a demand from a local person, and if migrant workers are demanding something, then that particular state will not give that much weightage or importance to that demand. Now, we know very well what happened in lockdown and its impact on migrant workers. We have seen so many of them. We have talked to so many things about it as well. So, I'm not going into all those things because I believe that we all are aware about the issues faced by migrants in our country. But the thing is, it's not just blue collar workers. Somewhere down the line, we all are migrants, or we know so many people who have migrated from our district and they are living in some other city. Uh, if you have, like, let's say, if a person is living in, or he is born and bred in city X, and now he is working in city Y, then for just election day, he is not going to come back from city Y to city X and deliver his vote and then go back, right? He or she will have to take a day off, and it will add expenses and so many other things. So what will happen is most of them, they will not vote, they will not exercise one of the most important thing, or they will not use one of the most powerful tool that they have in a democratic country like India. In last 2 decades, number of migrants has gone up as well. If you follow Economic Survey 2017, then it says that annual average flow of interstate migrants is at about 9 million in period between 2011 and 16. So if you, let's say, 5 years, right? If you multiply 9 million by 5, then we get what? 4.5 crore people are means they have migrated in this 5 years. And many of them, if they want to vote, they have to go back to their state. Of course, that is not practically possible. That is not a viable option for them. So they are just going to miss it, and this is one of the main reason why we find many times this someone else will vote for that person without that person even knowing it. So this sort of manipulation as well takes place in our country. This is a dark reality of our election. Things are good, but this sort of things are also going on, and I'm sure you are aware about or you might have heard about this sort of things. Even migrants who stay on in that particular state or in that particular district for good struggle to get registered locally as voters, as the attendant paperwork to transfer their rights is cumbersome. There are so many things that you have to provide, so it's a very lengthy process. So it's very difficult for these migrants to register to the place where they are living at present, or they have been living for a very long period of time. At present, Election Commission of India is looking for a technology. It is trying to find a solution for this thing, that we can vote from anywhere we like, or we can have something like one nation, one ration card type of thing, where you can link voter ID card with Aadhaar, and verification can be done using your fingerprint or iris scan, or maybe facial recognition, or all three of them, or maybe two out of it, or maybe just one thing. You can use it, right? It is a foolproof system. But then we will have so many issues with it as well, so we need to find solutions for those things. One thing that I would like to put in front of you, and I want you guys to think about it, is remote voting, or you can also call it e-vote. Now, we find this thing in many reality shows that people can send text messages, or people can use, they can give a missed call, and they can register their vote, or you can say yes or no and things like that. So if reality shows, if they can manage this thing, then I'm sure ECI should explore this sort of things. You can use your mobile phone, your smartphone, or your normal phone. I'm sure we are going to face many challenges in it, and there are so many things, like someone can literally misuse it, particularly in villages. The Bahubali type of ministers or netas or politicians, they will ask people to submit their phone, and they will use that phone to. But we can have facial recognition, and we can have this fingerprint thing. So this is just an idea. Now we need to explore it. E-voting is a thing, and if we can achieve e-voting, then NRIs as well, they would be able to take part in our political system or this election. quite actively, of course. So I'm sure we can, means the future is going to be e-voting. I'm pretty much sure about it because a few decades ago, um, we were just stuck with this ballot paper, but now we are using EVM. I'm not sure how many of you are aware about this thing, but even USA is not using EVM machines for this elections, and it is not that it's not like EVMs are hacked, and this is the reason why, as far as I know, you cannot hack it. But the thing is, our ECI, that is Election Commission of India, is quite advanced, and we are helping so many countries in conducting elections, and they come here to learn from us because we are the biggest democracy in the world. And the challenges that you face here, you face this sort of challenges nowhere on this planet. So ECI is not just helping India, but it is also helping so many other countries. So if we can achieve EVMs, if we this is EVM compared to ballot paper, EVM is a big breakthrough, and I'm sure the next breakthrough or next big thing is going to be e-vote. So let's hope for it. With this, dear friends, if you like today's lecture, then hit the like button. If you think that you have learned something from today's lecture, hit the like button. Please make sure that you share this lecture with other students, and please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Then we have a very interesting comment coming from Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat. He has said that Quad would be a good mechanism to ensure freedom of navigation operations in the Indian Ocean and surrounding oceans, including the Indo-Pacific. So he's talking about this whole region here, right? This red dotted line that you can see on your screen. This region is Indo-Pacific region. So he's talking about freedom of navigation operations. He also said that a particular country coming into Indian Ocean and trying to create troubles and problems in this Indian Ocean. So he was basically, indirectly, he was talking about China. And he said that Quad, he talked about Quad. Now, I'm sure you know that in Quad we have 4 countries. We have India, Australia, Japan, and here you can see USA. So these are the 4 countries. They are part of this quadrilateral, QUAD, Quad. Now, this is a significant shift of the government's posture towards Quad. The reason is that back in 2018, Prime Minister Modi said that India sees the Indo-Pacific as a geographical concept, not as a strategy or a club of limited members. That means for us, for India, back in 2018, PM Modi said that this Indo-Pacific region is a geographical concept. We see it as geography, and we are not looking at it, or India is not looking at it from a strategic point of view. Few weeks ago, Mr. Jaishankar, S. Jaishankar, Minister of External Affairs, S. Jaishankar said that India would never be part of any alliance system. We talked about this thing. Remember, we talked about strategic autonomy. And I have explained to you what is strategic autonomy. We talked about multipolar world, then unipolar world, then we talked about bipolar world, and so many other things. So at that point of time, Mr. Jaishankar said that we will never be part of any alliance system. And here, the latest stand or latest signal that India is sending out is that maybe I'm saying maybe because CDS has not specifically said this thing. He has placed one idea, and if CDS is saying something, then we can take it as the government is thinking about joining in the sense like military patrols, starting military patrols with this Quad nations. India has not formally announced to include Australia in this annual Malabar exercise. I have one question for you. Can you tell me, means Australia is not part of this Malabar exercise yet. Formally, India has not said anything about it. India is, of course, part of this Malabar exercise. Can you give me the name of 2 more countries that are part of this Malabar exercise? Very easy to understand, very easy to answer. Stick your answer in the comment section. I want to know how many of you are with me. So this is, I think, a big change or a big signal, and I believe that this is because now we know that the way things are going on at LSE and the way China or Chinese army is behaving with us or misbehaving. Now we know that or now India is convinced that we need a new strategy to deal with China. Next month, we are going to have a ministerial level meeting between India and USA. And this is going to be in 2+2 format. So, Foreign Minister of India and Defense Minister of India will hold a meeting with um, Defense Minister of USA and Foreign Minister of USA. And now this article is saying that we may add Japan's defense minister and foreign minister, as well as Australia's foreign minister and defense minister. So this is going to be for the first time you will see like Quad 2+2 meeting, right? So in total you will have how many? 8 ministers, isn't it? You will have 8 foreign minister. Beg your pardon. You will have 4 foreign ministers and 4 defense ministers. Right, one each from these 4 countries. So this is going to be a big thing. So far we are here. Now let's wait and watch for another updates about this particular topic. Moving on to next item, appropriate strategy. India has recently blocked 118 Chinese apps. So far we have blocked more than 200 Chinese apps. And when India, a country like India, a big country like India, when we block someone or when we ban this sort of services, then that is not just economical or financial damage to that particular company, but it is a damage to that country itself. I'll give you one example. I'm not sure how many of you have seen it from this point of view, but see, a few years ago, and I think in many parts of the world, people still believe today that Chinese goods or Chinese products are cheap in quality. They are not durable, they are brittle, or they are not durable. They are not means quality products, right? China cannot deliver quality products. That's what many countries believe. If you ask me, then I would say that China at present is capable enough to, and I'm being very honest here, China is producing some high quality products as well. But there was a time when China used to produce just cheap quality of products, and China has done so many things to change its image from being a cheap quality producer to good high-end quality producer country. So in products, yes, China is a manufacturing hub. Now, this sort of apps, 5G services, and with the help of other things and other companies, China is trying to create itself, or China wants to position itself at the very top of the table when it comes to services. And when we are banning Chinese apps, that means China's services are not reliable enough, they are not secure enough, right? That's what the signal is coming from India, and that is a big loss for Chinese image. That is big loss for China brand when it comes to services. And there are so many other countries as well, as you know, that the USA and then Australia is also pondering about banning this sort of apps and things. So this is not just a damage to PUBG and TikTok and other companies. It will hurt very badly this brand China. The decision has been taken based on several complaints, and government has said that keeping in mind security and other things, we have decided to ban these apps. It's okay, we can do this thing, and that's fine as well. The problem is, or the question is, we have been reactive on this thing rather than being proactive. TikTok and other things, or these apps, they were here for a very long period of time, and they were here before this LSC issue. So just after LSC issue, we are banning this app. That means that all these things were going on, but we were not working on it. But now we are facing pressure, and that's why we are taking some action on it. Unfortunately, we don't have any robust data protection law in our country. So without a proper data protection law, we are going to see this sort of things, like companies will come here and they will extract our data and they will use it for their profit. So all I'm saying is that we have to be more proactive when it comes to data protection and data protection law. Moving on to next item, Parliament stifled business, and a word of advice. Now, yesterday as well, we have talked about this topic, so I'm not going into minor details of this thing. If you are new to this video series, if this is your first day, then I highly recommend you guys to check out my yesterday's video. If you don't want to watch it, if you don't want to watch a full video, what you can do is just watch that portion in which we have talked about question hour. I have explained how it works and why it is important and so many other things. Now, sadly, there are so many states, they have held a very short session, monsoon session. Some of them have just met for just a day and they have passed some ordinances and that's it. They have done. Or the session was end, this whole monsoon session. Our parliament's monsoon session will start from 14th September, and the reason why we are discussing is because question hour is cancelled. We have talked about this thing yesterday, so I'm not repeating the things here. You can quickly go through it once you download the PDF of today's discussion. Now, I want you guys to understand this thing, that when we compare UK and India, United Kingdom and India, when it comes to apps like Arogya Setu app. In our country, Arogya Setu app was made mandatory. And even today, if you visit some places, then you need to have this Arogya Setu app. And it should say that you are clean, you don't have coronavirus. If anything like that is displayed in Arogya Setu app, then you will be banned from that place. You will be quarantined. Now, Arogya Setu app, we don't know. Government, when government enforced this Arogya Setu app, the government has not answered questions like, or there was no setup or committee that looked after this vital things like how you will collect data, for how long the data will remain, when the data will be deleted. There are so many other questions that you can ask about Arogya Setu app. Now, in UK as well, there were a few people who were demanding something like Arogya Setu app, not exactly same, but they were also thinking about this thing. But before launching this app, the government or the people in government or this MPs, right, they started this debate and discussion like when we are going to delete the data, why we need to collect data, what type of data we will collect, what about privacy, what about safety, and so many other things. So the difference here is that in UK, they were asking questions before the launch of the app, and they took into consideration people's safety and people's privacy and so many things. In our country, it was just forced on us, and that's a sad thing. If you see parliamentary oversight, right, parliamentary oversight has been largely absent through last 6 months. Parliament will be meeting after 175 days, the longest gap without intervening general elections and just short of the 6-month constitutional limit. In other countries, they have adopted technology. They are MPs and MLAs, they are working from home. They are participating in these meetings online, via online or using this communication technology. They are taking part in it. In our country, we can do that thing, but we are still not doing it, and I don't know why. It is possible, it is very easy, and there is no point of cancelling this question hour. We can ask a few MPs from a few parties. They can come and visit the parliament. They can sit there in the house, and we can maintain social distancing, and other MPs can stay at their offices or their home, and they can take part in this parliament proceeding via technology. In this period, in last 6 months, Government of India has launched or issued some 900 notifications, and states, they have issued some 6,000 notifications. Here is the link if you want to go through them. And on top, there are other notifications on various different subjects that were issued by government. The absence of functioning parliament or committees implies that there has been no check or guidance on a government action, right? Again, I would like to bring this Arogya Setu incident or UK and India comparison. What UK did was more proactive. It's like ongoing guidance mechanism. So if you want to launch something like Arogya Setu app, then they will think about it. They will do brainstorming, and they get so many new points. And once they have new points on table, they can refine it, they can vet it, and then they will move ahead with it. What we have done here is more like post-mortem analysis. You launch something, and then you find faults with it, and then you try to repair it. You see the difference here? And we also find, because of this, government not doing discussions and no parliamentary committees or parliamentary forums discussing some important topics, and because of that thing, we find Supreme Court coming in, and Supreme Court delivering some decisions, like the recent one about telecom AGR. The telecom companies, they have to pay AGR dues in 10 years' time. Earlier on, government was saying that 20 years' time is something that is more liberal, but because government did nothing about it, or government, when I say nothing, I mean to say that government did not do enough for it, and because of that, then Supreme Court stepped in. So we need to know so many things, and if you cancel this question hour, then how we are going to know things, means like how we are going to know what government is doing about this China issue, what we are doing with this lockdown, or what happened during lockdown, how many people suffered, how many people died, how many people have lost their jobs, and there are so many things that the nation wants to know. Moving on to the last item, very interesting article. In this whole pandemic season, 3 important missions were launched to Mars. 19th July UAE, 23rd July China, and 30th July USA launched its mission to Mars. Now it reminds us, it looks like they are in some sort of competition. Back in 1960s, there was a competition to reach moon, and it looks like these countries are in a sort of a rat race to reach Mars. But the reality is that it's not a rat race. It's more like they are purely working or taking these decisions, or they have took these decisions to launch these missions in July, because every 26 months the Earth and Mars are closest together. So you have a very small window. If you lose this window, then you have to wait for another 26 months. Now, back in 1887, there was this Italian astronomer, Giovanni Schiaparelli. Giovanni Schiaparelli said that he observed Mars, and he said that you find canali. Canali means channels in Italian language. So he said there are channels, narrow and long depressions that you find on Mars, and the people took it as canal or canals, right? People thought like there are canals on Mars, and then there were so many fictional novels and so many things were printed on this so-called imaginary canals that you find on Mars. But later on, after this sophistication of this telescope and other things, we came to know that Giovanni was right. You find channels in Mars. Now, there are so many common things between Earth and Mars. There are so many common features. Their air is more likely same. They have this day and night more likely same. They have seasons over there, rocky composition. And there was a time when liquid used to flow. Liquid water was available on a Martian surface. Some scientists think that Mars might have harbored life. Not advanced aliens and things, but mundane, bacterial life and things like that. Now, the most interesting thing is recently Elon Musk said that he wants to die on Mars. So what he's saying is that it's not like he want to go there and then he want to kill himself. No, what he's saying is that he wants to migrate to Mars. He wants to create terraforming of Mars. Terraforming means you create Earth-like environment on Mars. Of course, not on complete planet, but on small part of planet. Maybe like a small city or even smaller than that. You can have a couple of buildings over there and people can live there. So we have reached to that level where our imagination, like we are imagining now that we will go there, we will visit there, we will stay there, we will basically colonize Mars. For that we need reusable rockets, and we need technology and so many things, and we are not that far from it. Like President Trump has already signed an order directing NASA to send astronauts to Mars in 2033. Russia is planning to send astronauts or cosmonauts. on Mars by 2040 to 2045, and I'm sure there are other countries as well. They are planning about it, and we'll see some breakthrough in it. One thing that I would like to remind here, and this is a bottom line, and then we will conclude this discussion, that when it comes to other planets, right, we need to think like humanity. We have to think as a species rather than countries. Healthy competition is good, but cutthroat competition, rat race, is something that will not benefit humanity. That's everything in today's discussion. There are a few news items. Of course, you can download the PDF and go through all these news items. And dear friends, tomorrow is Sunday, so no Hindu analysis tomorrow. Now I will directly meet you on Monday. Of course, if you are following daily financial news analysis, then the lecture will be delivered in couple of hours. But as far as Hindu analysis is concerned, now I will see you on Monday. Enjoy your weekend. God bless you all. Happy Teachers Day. Jai Hind.